There's one. Oh, well, we're live now. It's a problem scheduling. Oh,
Oh, so
me and the
so
software. Yeah, go ahead.
Facebook cooperated this time.
I think so. It must be a problem with the scheduling part of it. So who knows if we'll even have anybody watch the daggum show tonight because nobody got a notification. So give me a minute here and let me deal with
Well,
all this
that's
stuff.
okay. If they didn't get no notification, they'll at least hear, or you and I will be able to hear each other talking.
Yeah, we can sit here and ramble. First, I got to make sure that we're actually live. So I'm showing that we're live. Okay. So I wonder if I can edit this on the fly. I don't know if I need to do that because it may kill the feed. Let me do an at followers comment
Okay,
at
okay,
followers.
okay.
We are
Well,
live.
I shared it, so we'll see what becomes of that. Oh,
And let's see.
there's there's one person watching.
Okay. Well, we got somebody. It's
Who
probably our
whoever
wives or somebody.
whoever the one person is, comment in the comments. I want to know who that is. Who is the
Yeah.
first person on?
Is anybody going to get the notifications and watch the show? So while we're scrambling here for a second, well, I've been working on this for 30 minutes trying to get a show scheduled. I mean, wham, wham, wham. Let me
And we
see
got
if
some
I
good
can.
we got some good stuff tonight. I got to tell you.
Well, we do. Unfortunately, we may just have a audience of one. Oh, we got two people. Your wife and my wife, maybe. I don't know. Sound off in the comments, folks, if you can hear us and if we're live, because we don't really know if we are. Talk about amateur
Yeah,
hour.
yeah, no kidding. So for those two of you, now three, that are there, I mean, we are having technical difficulties, and it would appear that the social media lords don't want you to hear what we have to say tonight. Um,
Well, I mean,
prop,
the thing
prop,
is, I don't want to spend too much on the tech side of it and bore everybody, but the thing is, we were able to go to Twitter and schedule YouTube and broadcast just fine. I, I've had some issues with Facebook for the last several shows with it not being able to schedule. So I've got to spend some time, get with the software developers, and see what the heck is going on. Facebook is the problem child. But we have
yeah,
half a dozen people watching, so hey, it's better than none.
it's growing. Yeah, so there's a few folks rolling on, trickling on in, and hey, I we're going to talk about the Senate race. We're going
Oh,
to get down in the
oh,
weeds on this U.S. Senate race because it's just done got just uh, just nasty, and I'm disgusted with it. I really am. I know that's hard to believe for somebody that's a political wonk and a show that we do criticizing politicians, but I got to tell you, this one's just it's done went all over me. This whole race.
well, and I've got a more neutral stance because, it's just politics and political races as usual to me. But I understand your frustration too, and I don't disagree with you. As a matter of fact, heck, I might even change my vote just to piss a couple of our fellow Republican friends off, just for the heck of it. I mean, but
That's
honestly,
where I'm at.
just to be spiteful, and you know who you are, I might cancel somebody's Fleming vote by voting for Julia Letlow too, just to make everybody mad. Everybody
What
be
to,
mad.
what to make a point? I mean, a lot of people think they're being smart, but they're not. I mean, actually, I think they've done more harm to their candidate than they have helped. That's just my feeling on it.
Yeah,
They've turned me on it. I mean, I was full throated all the way one way, and my position has changed, and it's not so much because of the candidate as it is the partisans backing the candidates.
yeah, and like I said, I don't blame you. So let me take care of a couple of things on my end. Hopefully, y'all don't hear the skill saw and other stuff running as my son is trying to build a deer stand out there. And well, anyway, I guess if he gets too loud, I'll have to go out there and tell him to turn it off. Anyway, more technical difficulties, more examples of amateur hour.
Yeah, and then of course, we've got besides the Senate race that we're going to talk about, the Claiborne Parish. We're going to get back to Claiborne. Good old Claiborne Parish seems to be a gift that keeps on giving, and it looks like, even though the good sheriff out there hates the media and hates people in the media, it looks like he phoned a friend.
Well, he phoned a TV interview. I guess he's kind of a fan of it. There was one interview, and I don't have the video pulled up because I was jacking around with the software, but there was one TV interview where they did like a phone call to him, and basically he said all news media was fake media and he wasn't going to respond or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I guess now that there's been a little attention shown to it, he doesn't mind the news media attention, the traditional news media attention. And we'll talk about that. I've got a show graphic posted for this and all that. Well, when we come out of the break, I'll show that. And then, well, yeah, we'll talk about the sheriff's office and their response. I've got those cuts queued up here in just a minute. So anyway, yeah. And then look, I just want to mention for a couple of things, not in particular, about information that we've received about Claiborne Parish, and we'll talk about how we're going to handle that. And we'll just ramble on from there. How about that, Mr. Lowry? Can you hear the sawzall running out there?
I cannot. I can't hear the sawzall, and
Okay.
I have not seen the first comment pop up in the little stream thingy there.
Yeah, I
And I'm looking on.
saw your comment,
Yeah, I
and I've
just ran
seen
that
our
through.
Bossier Watch comments, but yeah, I haven't seen any either. I guess everybody's in silent mode. Let's try this. So I'm gonna send a testing one. I'm gonna send it through my phone. All
Oh, there we
right.
go. Laura Rexford. I
Ah,
can hear
yes.
last week. Did YouTube, Facebook. Okay. George Tigner.
All right. Thank you, Laura, for letting us know that. Yeah, and the thing about it is that's why we broadcast to at Facebook and YouTube, and we try to do Twitter almost every week. Also, so you've got a choice of whichever platform you like. But anyway, I appreciate that. Thank you, George, for letting me know that you don't hear the sawzall nor the skill saw out there. That's a good thing. All right. Shall we go ahead and let's do our little intro and come right back out of it, and we'll start discussing things. How about that?
Yeah, we can do that. And just, a couple of other things. I think we'll talk briefly, about anyway, just a little bit of a sad thing going on in the community. The B-52 community
Oh,
had a
yes.
B-52 go down, and I think it'd be appropriate for us to give our condolences to anybody associated with that. I don't know that they've identified everybody in it or let the public know, but it would be hard to believe that there wasn't some connection to somebody with Barksdale and here.
Right.
Just and it sucks. It sucks. The B-52 and the community is an amazing community, and a lot of airmen have come through and flown on the B-52, and just man, it's tough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I saw some of that in the news. I hadn't paid super close attention to it, but I did see it, and you're right. Anytime it hits the B-52 community, it hits all of us as a whole. Okay, so let me click out a couple of pieces of software here so that my system doesn't give us any issues. I'm going to go ahead and hit the intro and the ad button. Hey, folks, if you're from Claiborne Parish and you're tuning in for the first time, or even if you're from Bossier, you know somebody in Claiborne Parish, I forgot to mention this, Mr. Lowry. I'm going to play the phone call that I made to the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office. That's at a little bit of this controversy. and let you hear that phone call where the dispatcher, Kim, I believe was her name, said that Mark Furlow was employed. And then we'll talk about the Channel 3 news article, and we will also show the public records request. Anyway, all that coming up in about 30, 45 seconds. We'll be right back and get started.
And both
Live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. All right, so there was something else. I kind of cut you off. I was too quick on the trigger to go to the ad. What were you about to inject
well,
into this conversation?
what I was trying to inject in, I didn't want anybody to think that we were going to have a show and not talk about Bossier City.
Oh yeah. All right.
How can we do a Bossier watch and not talk about Bossier City?
Yeah, very, very true. We haven't really talked about Bossier that much in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks because we've been off on other tangents. But hey, I'm always game for that.
Well, I mean, I got so many friends in Bossier, and I was just here the other day. I was standing out in front of my office, and there was literally a show going on in front of my office. Did you know that? I mean, thanks to Bossier City, a show.
What kind of, like a movie show? What kind of show?
It was entertainment. I mean, it was the best entertainment you could have. I mean, go to Cut 4, and I even made a video. I recorded it. It was so entertaining.
Well, give me just a second. Let me switch here because I'm not ready, and that is definitely not the.
Well, I mean, this show, I've watched this show for years and years and years, and I can only thank Bossier City government for it, and as well as this new Bossier City government.
All right, well, keep ad-libbing for just a second. Let me get this video set up because I am not. It is just absolute amateur hour for me. Give me 1 second here. Let me get your whole deal set up. Okay, yeah, give us some Jeopardy music.
Okay, I can't do Jeopardy music real good, but
all right, here we go. I got it set up. I'm about to hit the button. Here we go.
Oh, no audio. You got to have the audio.
Wait, why don't we have the audio? We should have audio.
I even narrated it for everybody.
I know. I can hear it. Why can't everybody else hear it? What is going on with Gremlins tonight?
Well, I mean, look, I can throw the narrative in here. I mean, Bossier City. Look.
Let me try this one time. Hold on. Let's try 5.
Well, it was literally a lake out on Benton Road. I mean, there's already multiple cars stalled and drowned out. There's another one right there in Bossier City. And I mean, look, if somebody had a wakeboard and a ski rope, I mean, Benton Road was great. But you know what the thing is this ain't the first time on Benton Road right here. It's not the first time. I mean, this happens anytime we get any kind of significant rain. You would think somebody in Bossier City government would know that, hey, you know what? It's a problem right there along Benton Road. But has anything been done? No. Same old thing.
I thought that was that new water park thing that they were going to do in lieu of the swimming pool.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. But we're changing things in Bossier City, and we're turning over a new leaf. But hey, it got me to thinking, Rex. I really got to thinking. So since our overlords in Bossier City have now decided that they're going to set your taxes aside for economic development. I mean, wait a minute, for infrastructure. I got to thinking, here's the perfect infrastructure thing. They could fix the flooding on particular areas in Bossier, like the cluttered up drainage canals with trash and all of that stuff. I mean, in fact, I know where I need to go check to make sure and see whether or not that's been cleaned up that allows for the drainage of water and stuff. But as encouragement to our Boulder City officials to try to address problems like this, y'all could call it economic development and then pat yourselves on the back. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could. All right, let me try something, folks. I appreciate everybody letting us know that y'all can hear us. Barbara Morris, thank you. A little bit of a technical difficulty. Let me switch to this screen and then let's see if y'all can hear the audio. Hold on. All right, still no audio.
Still no audio. Oh
That's
well.
that's crazy. All right, well, that's going to be a challenge. So, because I wonder if we're going to be able to hear the audio from the phone call. I've got the audio file. We're going to listen to it one way or the other. Let me try this. So tell me if you hear this.
I hear that.
You can hear that music? Okay.
I can hear that
It's low
music.
key.
We don't ride the storm.
Okay. All right. I don't know what's up with my
We wrangle it.
So keep it on Bossier City and keep it on moving along here. I mean, I'm giving them free advice here. Y'all can fix the drainage and the flooding. I mean, I know over there, I think it's Bardot and some of them other streets, they have a horrendous drainage problems. I mean, and it also made me wonder. I wonder how many lift pumps are sitting running 24 hours a day. I need to go run out in Swan Lake and see how much, you know, the Brotherhood of Engineers is making off of rental equipment out there. I need to go check back on that and some of these other things. It just got me to thinking I need to start checking some of those things that over the years we've covered and need to go back and see. I mean, because it's a new day. I mean, the people in Bossier City Hall, they did so much to get term limits and get a new administration. So a lot of these things ought to be done, fixed, and repaired, right? I
Well,
mean,
you would think so. I mean, look, they're setting up this super duper special savings account. I guess they're going to start hoarding gold bars or gold bullion or whatever they're going to do. So you would think, yeah, they could work on the streets and drainage. I mean, look, they can come right out here down my street. They need to come clean out the ditches and dredge the ditches because I think that's in the city's right of way. I think it's their responsibility to do that so that all of our yards here, when we have a good, downpour, won't fill up. So they'll go ahead and drain to the Flat River properly. That maybe, oh, what's that councilman's name? Oh, yeah, Joel Gerard, Mr. Money Guy, Mr. Numbers Guy. Joel, you're my city councilman, so I'm publicly
Joel ain't
asking you, call me.
Joel ain't got time for that, Rex. He's
Oh,
getting ready to run for the legislature. He's got to go
what?
down there and make sure that we get more economic development. Joel
Oh,
can't do that.
okay.
He ain't
Well,
got time for that.
never mind, Joel. That'll just give me something more to gripe about on the show. The next time we have a good rain, I'll go out there and video it and show everybody. It's not just my yard, it's all down the street. And I think, I could be wrong, I think it's the city's responsibility to clean out those ditches that haven't been done in, I don't know, a couple of decades.
Yeah, but I mean, look, we voted for change, but I mean, we still get things like Red Rover and the people who affected Red Rover. Yeah, they was able to use the taxpayer dollars to get it kicked out, but at the end of the day, Red Rover, what did it have? It had Popo raiding the man's business, and the Popo, we showed the video saying, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this?
Well, even
Um,
worse, I've got a mosquito. I've got all kinds of issues today. I have a mosquito buzzing around. Um,
I
Squirrel
know, and
moment here.
it's distracting. You're getting me off my game here.
I don't.
I'm
It's
going to
like
put
one
in
of
a
those.
complaint. I'm going to file a complaint with the complaint
Yeah,
department.
send an
Okay.
email, Duke, to bozierwatch@gmail.com, or
Okay.
you can create an anonymous free Proton Mail account and send one to Bossier Watch at Proton Mail. That way I won't know who the complaints are coming from.
That's problem solved right there.
All right.
Oh,
We're rambling, folks. I am completely discombobulated right now. Let me try
no,
to get
we're
back on my game here.
we're actually not rambling. I wanted to have this discussion. So you might as well go ahead and get cut 7 because Bossier City, and I'm not going to let up here, and I'm putting
Okay.
it on the front end. Consider this Bossier City YouTube watchers that we can't see or whoever. We're doing y'all a favor to putting all this on the front end so you can absorb it as we go along. But hey, cut 7. Bossier
All right,
City
coming up.
making moves. We're making moves.
Oh,
So did you get the email?
no, I didn't know anything about moving. What are they going to start dance lessons, ballroom dancing? What are they doing? They learning how to break
No.
dance? What's up?
Apparently, we're doing something different. We're making moves. We're changing. Apparently, this was an invitation thing to an event for Bossier City. I mean, you see it right there. You read it. Tommy Chandler and the Bossier City Council and making moves. They're fixing to change something and do something. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to announce that, remember the audit? We're going to audit the books of the city. Remember when Tommy ran and we was talking about an audit? I'm thinking maybe we're fixing to have that audit. Remember that?
Duke, you've now
What?
baited me and I can't resist the bait. I am going to put all of this into AI and I'm going to have it crank out a new brand for Bossier City. This is going to be outstanding. We can have, let's go down the list. We can have Tahoes in there. We can have leaving your CAO high and dry for over 4 years. We can have fighting term limits. We can have parking lots. I'm going to mix all of this together. We can have a fresh LSU graduate with zero experience hired as the public relations liaison or whatever. What else can we have? We can have flooded streets.
How to build parking lots with no accountability.
Yes. We can put all those things in. Pipelines to the port. No raising of water rates. We're going to put all of that, and somehow I'm going to get AI to come up with a brand identity that incorporates all of that, including the firing of Lewis Johnson.
Oh, how to threaten media with death by Zamboni. That would be a good one.
See, I forgot the Zamboni, the whole thing. I was trying to forget about Montgomery, but okay, you brought it back up.
And don't forget Roundabout Gate.
the monument. That's what the brand should be, a new monument to themselves. I wonder how much they're spending on this brand identity.
I think the current council, they just need to go ahead and just rubber stamp the YMCA. They just need to go on and do that. They should go in and do that and cut the deal with the marshal's office. Oh, by the way, if anybody needs a fence built, I hear there's a good fence builder by virtue of the marshal's office, but they could just cut a deal with Whitman and, anoint Hambone right on in there with the YMCA. We can kill countless birds with one stone. But I mean, look, none of this would be possible. None of this would be possible if it were not for all of the contributions from Sobo to the term limits thing. Oh, wait a minute. If I recall, I think there was about $15,000 of private money that was spent on the term limits thing. And if I recall correctly, none of that came from Sobo. Not one penny.
I think you're correct. I mean, we could check with the good colonel, and because he was in charge of the PAC deal for that, we could double check with him and all that. I can't remember any money coming south of I-20, or heck, south of 220, nearly for that matter.
I don't remember a penny, but somehow or another, Sobo is responsible.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, it's that pesky Chris Smith. He's such a soothsayer. He knew about this long before anybody else had ever considered it. And look, I gotta while we're on that soapbox, I gotta thank Chris Smith because look, I didn't walk the neighborhoods that much near what you, the Colonel, and Cassie, and a couple of others did, but I don't think Chris Smith walked any of the neighborhoods. Hmm. Do you remember? Do you remember Chris Smith turning in any of the petition sheets? Either time? Maybe one or two, maybe.
Don't quite remember that, but
Hmm.
you know,
But
that's
it's
all
okay.
right.
He needs to take credit because it was his idea. He thought this up years and years ago, and it just went by osmosis to all the rest of us, and we got it. So, thank you,
Hail,
Chris
hail
Smith.
Sobo, hail
Yes.
Sobo. Yep, the honorable
And look,
Sobo.
we like all you regular folks in Sobo that are watching and listening to the show and doing your part. That it's just the kind of leadership of Sobo, Anyway, but we digress.
Well, the Sobo people need to know the real deal. That's what they need to know, the real deal. And
All right, so hold on. We stand corrected. Cindy Ulrich says she donated, not much, but still donated, and she is Sobo. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Cindy.
well, there we go. We stand corrected.
Yep.
Thank you, Cindy.
We will double check our list and make sure that we're correct. And obviously, Cindy, thank you for the donation. So we'll make sure and issue a correction. We won't out everybody, but we're going to look and see of the important people, the leaders, the fearless leaders. We're going to see who did what. But
yeah, because I honestly I did not remember that I saw a donation from anyone from South Bossier. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah.
If there's any more, by all
Well-
means, please correct us and let us know.
Yeah, look, to give credit where it's due, I don't think you were paying attention to the donations because you were out there, working blisters up on your feet, walking the neighborhoods alongside, hand in hand, arm in arm with Chris Smith, as best I can recall. All right. Moving right along. Yeah, it's kind of one of those gripe session days. All right, moving right along. So, see, that was not even on our list, and we got in some Bossier City jabs. But look, if Bossier City wants to rebrand, that's fine. Maybe this new Riley girl is maybe she is well qualified and well trained at brand identity and coming up with some of that. Maybe she's going to have a big hand in that. Hey, let's see what Tommy and his new crew has.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she will announce some. New contracts with businesses after a trip to the golf thing down there. I don't know, because it seems like when you have golfing outings down there with businesses present, they end up getting contracts the very next day. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but maybe she's gonna, put the icing on top of that.
Haygood says, I think Chris knocked on a few doors. We can go back to the petition sheets and double check that. Like I said, maybe he did knock on a few. He's got to get out there and break a little bit of a sweat to make it look like he's doing something, since it was his idea, but we'll talk about that.
Well, I do know the Sobo boys were all, there's two things. I know the first petition when we had the big announcement thing in front of City Hall, they was all present. And I do know that Shane Cheatham put together at the park a meeting thing. Yes, and then there was one other deal at a Parkway High School event that garnered a few signatures. But overall, the thousands of signatures didn't come from Sobo people. It came from, Nobo people walking Sobo and Nobo.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anyway, so, all right. Shall we talk? All right. So this Letlow versus Fleming. So I generated a video. I generated a vertical style video from the Julia Letlow stuff. Are you ready to talk about that and want me to test that video since we're having dadgum audio issues today?
We can go there, or we can go to this Clavern thing and get the Clavern thing out of the way. It's up to you. If you want to test that real quick, we can go there.
All right, well, I can test the Mark Furlow, Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office video just as well. All right, so folks, just bear with us. We're absolutely amateur hour tonight. Let me see if I can get us over here. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Let me see if I can clear that out. Go away. Okay. Let me see if I can. This video is going to play the audio. All right, let's present it as full screen. Can you hear that?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So let me set this up for y'all, folks. I think it was a problem with the video file you made, but we'll address that. All right. So this is June the 4th, and there was some, there's been some back and forth about whether Mark Furlow was or still is employed as I think a detective or investigator for the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office, and also employed or appointed, elected as a Claiborne Parish police juror. And as we reported a few weeks ago, and we've posted a couple of times, that's a dual office holding deal, and the Louisiana State Police and the AG's office have both issued statements that that is a no-no. All right, so there's been this discrepancy whether he was working for the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office. So I called the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office on June the 4th it was around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'll actually post this and post the correct time. But here is the phone call that I made, and then we'll get into more of this.
Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office, this is Kim. How may I help you?
Hi, Kim. This is Rex over in Bossier City. And I'm trying to determine if a Detective Mark Furlow is still working for the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office.
He does.
He does. Okay, so he's currently a detective with the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was June the 4th. All right.
But KTPS and the sheriff said that's not true.
Well, I don't know, and that's the crux of the graphic for the show. So let me show you. This was going to be our graphic, but I wasn't able to get it scheduled because of software issues. But anyway, so and that's the title for the show 301. Our BS meter is pegged. So I don't know what to think of all this. First of all right, let's take it on face value. The sheriff's office, who we should be able to believe because they're a sheriff's office, a law enforcement office, a law enforcement agency. So we should be able to believe them that if Mark Furlow is not employed there, he's not. But there's so many other twists to this story. And that's why I'm not really sure I believe the sheriff's department yet. So we are going to post the KTBS statement and article that they shared out where the sheriff's office said Mark Furlow is not employed there, and he has not been since, I believe, November of 2025. Now, that presents a challenge because the sheriff's office also finally did respond to our public information request about Mark Furlow's employment records and commissions and all that. So let me start pulling those up and let's kind of dig through this. So here we go. And feel free to ad lib in any time that you want to.
Well, I will say that since we started digging down this road, people have been sending us information, and I don't know if I knew it or if I talked about it before, but ironically, it was brought to my attention that the sheriff's son was married to Mr. Furlow's daughter. Isn't that interesting? Another connection.
It is. That's again, this is why our BS meter, I know mine is starting to tingle like Spidey sense, and I think yours may be too. And that's the reason we're continuing to dig into this. Now, look, if Mark Furlow, if he straight up resigned or whatever in November of 2025, and we get the documentation from the sheriff's department, be glad to post it, correct the record. That is not a problem. All right. And I'm not claiming, and Duke, I don't think you are either. Neither one of us are claiming that Furlow is doing anything underhanded or sneaky or anything like that. He was just dual office holding. He may not have even realized it, although would argue that the sheriff's department has attorneys and the police jury in Claiborne Parish has an attorney, and they are all well versed in dual office holding statutes. So there's that. But maybe he didn't know. So anyway, let me read or kind of review this public information request that we sent back on June the 5th. This was 11 days ago, one day after I made that phone call. All right. So anyway, we requested number one, his current payroll status, whether he's currently paid by the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office and whether he is paid as full-time, part-time, or whatever, or any other pay arrangement. Number two, his current job title or position, his current employment classification, full-time, part-time, reserve, volunteer, commission, non-commission, etc. Suspended or leave or on leave or separated. That's number three. Okay. So remember that. Number three, if he separated himself from the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Department, there's got to be some documentation there, right? All right. His commission status, including any records showing whether Furlow currently holds a commission badge, law enforcement authority, post status, oath, appointment, or authorization to act on behalf of the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office. All right. His hire, appointment, resignation, or termination records. Number five, his hire, appointment, resignation, separation, or termination record. Did he issue any kind of letter of resignation? An email, anything, a text message? All right, any leave or status change documents showing administrative leave, unpaid leave, and some of this they may try to hide behind payroll privacy deals, but still we should be able to see his status as active or inactive, whether he resigned, whether he was fired, whatever happened there. The payroll records or compensation records, considering or showing whether Furlow has received any compensation, stipend, reimbursement, salary, wages, detail from April the 2nd to present. All right, so I did narrow the focus there. All right. And then any correspondence or Miranda or personnel action forms after the issuance of the Louisiana Attorney General opinion back this spring. So again, that is a relatively narrow focus from this spring to now. All right, so I want to be clear in all of that. And I will post these documents on the website. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Okay. This is the response Friday, June the 12th. So this past Friday. No documents, no documents, no documents. Furlow has not worked there since November 2025. Archive files are being researched. However, this is not completed. We will supplement this response within 10 business days if any responsive documents are located. Was he a ghost? How do you work as a detective or investigator or whatever his capacity was for the sheriff's office and there's like no documentation? Did they just give him a badge and say, here, you're deputized, carry this badge? I mean, what's the deal? That's all we're asking. And again, we're not saying everything went on the up and up, but it's public tax dollars. And there are a lot of people that want to know. You wouldn't believe the response we've gotten about Claiborne Parish. All right, so number 6, no documents. Number 7, no documents. Number 8, no documents. That just opens up more questions.
Well, it absolutely opens up more questions. And hey, I just messaged you a link, and I want you to bring that link up because this is germane to what we're talking about here, and I want you to bring this up on the screen for everybody as we're talking about this Claiborne Parish kerfuffle here.
Okay, so let me see if I can do this. Let me hit this button and this button. Okay, let me see if I can. Give me just a second. I'm going to adjust this on the fly behind the scenes here.
Roger that. Roger that. So, as we are talking about this and as we continue to go through this, I mean, we've gotten a lot of information flowing in from Claiborne, and to the Claiborne folks that are sharing things and out there, thank you very much. I mean, we Bossier Watch, we understand how it is to not feel safe about putting things out publicly, and you want things to change within your community, and you've never had a way to do it. It's kind of the same thing that happened here in Bossier, and which is why we do what we do. There's a lot of things that you just kind of can't talk about because you have to be fearful of reprisals and things. And so, we're not worried about that. So we're going to share things out there. So Rex, what you got right here is a directory of the police jurors for Claiborne Parish. And as you can see right there in the top, you see Mark Furlow. He's the vice president or chair, I guess, of their police jury. Again, don't know him personally. He's probably a fine guy. Probably didn't know, just like you said. But, it just doesn't seem like things are being completely transparent. But I want you to keep scrolling on down and get on down to the very last, the second to last row of people here. Yeah, right there. Right there. Now, the fellow on the left, interestingly, has a last name of Dowies. Not completely sure on that cat, but I find it ironic. He's kind of got a name like the sheriff, but that's not the one I'm really wanting to point out. The one I'm wanting to point out is District 10, the fellow right there in the middle, Mr. Willie Young.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, and we're going to have to send another request, allegedly, he works at the sheriff's office too.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm told. Sources from out there in Claiborne are saying that he works at the sheriff's office as well. So, you would think that if that's true, if he works at the sheriff's office and he's a police juror, I mean, how can it be dual office holding for the other cat and not for this guy? And if this guy is doing it, I mean, I don't know that somebody can plead with the attention that's been brought to this, and especially with the sheriff's office addressing it with KTBS. If this guy is there, I mean, did you forget about dual office holding here in this case, if that's true?
Well, and then of course that presents another challenge because either the Attorney General's office has to step in, or technically and legally, the DA's office has to do something about this. Did you have a little trouble there drinking, Mr. Lowry?
Well, I almost choked on my sweet tea. That like the DA's office in Claiborne is going to do anything. As I appreciate it, the DA's office is in the pocket of the sheriff of Claiborne. So I don't know. I don't know that anything is going to happen there. In fact, I think probably if what I understand or what I hear is correct, that the Claiborne sheriff feels pretty confident and pretty good about his position that he don't have nothing to worry about out there.
Well, look, he may not. And again, I want to stress the fact I've never met Mark Furlow. I've never met Sheriff Dowies out there. I don't think I have anyway. Don't know him personally, but this is very similar to the Robert Berry situation and other governmental situations. And when people reach out to us, and look, a lot of the guy that's kind of been behind the Channel 3 article initially, but let me just state for the record, it's not just that guy. We have gotten dozens of emails, messages, text messages, and all that about these things that are going on in Claiborne Parish, allegedly going on. And it's a lot of stuff. Now, every time we post about the Bossier Sheriff or Bossier PD, we get people that come out of the woodwork and, oh, yeah, the Bossier Sheriff did this and the Bossier PD did that. And a lot of it is either emotionally charged, information that may have an element of truth to it. But as we look into it, it's not the way that it really happened. But in this case, it's a lot of stuff, and a lot of the people are saying very similar things. So, anyway, look, let me just put it this way. We're going to be waiting for the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office to go back through their archives and pull the records that have to be there, unless he just got hired on a handshake and y'all were issuing checks to Furlow. And look, maybe he was only getting paid $50. Who knows what it was. But unless y'all were just, handing him cash and not getting receipts, there has to be some sort of records and transactions. That's all I'm saying. He's not a ghost. He's a real guy, and apparently a nice guy. Look, we've gotten just as many messages about how great of a guy he is. Apparently, I think he's an EMT. He's with the Haynesville Fire Department. I think he volunteers for that. Apparently, a lot of people have come out in his defense, and that's fine. Again, I want to stress, he might be a great guy. We're interested in the political side of this and the dual office holding side and the dragging the feet so far of the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office. That's it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up the Channel 3 article while you add a little bit more
Well,
into it.
Well, as an example of emails that we get, for example, I mean, and there's a lot of them. So here's an example. Don't know who it is. They sent it by a Proton mail. Good job, whoever you are. And this is what they said. They said, good old boys in Claiborne Parish. These are flying around Claiborne Parish and on Facebook. The people of the parish know how Sam abuses his authority. I'm not sharing this for any political reason. I'm sharing because y'all mentioned him not liking KTBS 3 for contacting him. Well, this was made 2 days ago, and in the very middle, you see it talks about his stepson's fight. Nothing got done about it because he covered it up. To the right, you see happy hour at 5 p.m. at Jim's office. That's because of how close they are. They are good old boys, and Walter May is involved. This post was made by Frank Morris. If he would come forward, I'm sure he would fill y'all in on a lot of stuff. Sam drinks at Jim's office, then gets in his tax paid vehicle with CP1 on the back, driving around after drinking. And in another email that we shared or message, I don't remember if it was email, message, or how we got it, but I think it was Proton Mail too, talking about how that he was pulled over by apparently a trooper, and that this would have been the third time that he's been pulled over by a trooper and left. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it would appear that people in Claiborne Parish believe it to be true. Somebody knows something because maybe they saw it, maybe, I don't know, but people in Claiborne are talking, and I think people in Claiborne know that they have a problem out there, and they're starting to open up and share information about what's happening out there.
Yeah, I would agree. So here's the Channel 3 article from yesterday, June the 15th. Claiborne Parish Sheriff's clarifies former detectives employment status. And so says Claiborne Parish Sheriff Sam Dowie's on Monday issued a statement clarifying the employment status of a now former sheriff's detective whose former dual positions within parish government drew scrutiny from the state attorney general. Mark Furlow, lifelong Claiborne Parish resident and current Claiborne Parish police juror, resigned his position from the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office in November to pursue opportunities in the private sector. Furlow still serves an elected position on the police jury. Dowie's statement comes as Furlow's status with the sheriff's office had continued to be questioned by some in the public. Can't imagine who that was. I don't know why Channel 3 refuses to mention us here. They've mentioned us before when they interviewed us for a lot of things like term limits and statutes. Anyway,
No
um,
problem at that time, huh? Right.
yeah. So Furlough's two full-time parish positions had put him crossways with the state's dual office holding law, according to an opinion the state attorney general's office released in April. The provisions of the state's law govern the ability to hold two or more public offices or positions simultaneously as a police juror. Furlough holds an elective office for purposes of the law, while a detective for the sheriff's office is classified as employment, the AG said. Let's see. Now, I want to point this out, and we have been sent this opinion too, so we're aware of this. In June 2024, District Attorney Danny Newell issued a legal opinion saying Furlough's position as on the police jury would not conflict with his deputy position as long as he abstained from any police jury votes related to the sheriff's office. That's also when Furlough accepted a full-time position as a CPSO detective. Now, I want to say, why would DA Danny Newell issue that opinion, which doesn't really have any legal relevance, when he knows good and well what happened over here in Bossier Parish with the Robert Berry dual office holding case, which had already gone through the courts?
Well, I mean, he may not have known, but I think maybe he was kind of going down the road of the Chance Nairn opinion. He was looking at it that way. Remember, Skylar, whenever we had the ruling from the appeals court, three judges that declared that the Bossier City Council had collectively, you know, reached the level of malfeasance, and we were requesting an investigation, and Skylar jumped in, ordered a quote unquote investigation, gave it to Chance Nairn, and Chance Nairn came up with the conclusion that, oh, you know, there's nothing prosecutable here. I mean, three judges found malfeasance, but he couldn't see it. I think it's a case of that Danny Newell out
Well,
there. Oh, I don't see no problem
you
out
you can't
here.
you can't tell me that
Nothing's going on.
that Skylar Marvin and Danny Newell didn't have any discussions at one time about the Robert Berry case, because that drug on for a couple of years. Now, I maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they don't talk at all. Maybe DAs don't talk. I don't know. But here, it says that District Attorney Newell, DA Newell's, and Mr. Furlough's belief that Mr. Furlough could serve in both positions was partly based on a 2015 Louisiana Board of Ethics opinion that the then chairman of the Claiborne Parish Police Jury could simultaneously be employed as a corrections officer at the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Detention Center. Now, there is a difference in that, because at that point, number one, that's a Board of Ethics opinion, and they don't give an opinion on whether it's violating state law. They give an opinion on whether it's violating ethics. All right. Number two, the Claiborne Parish Detention Center is treated as a separate entity somehow than the Claiborne Parish Sheriff's Office, although it is staffed with Claiborne Parish Sheriff's deputies. And so the Board of Ethics opinion doesn't have any legal teeth as far as whether or not you're violating the dual office holding laws. Does that make sense? Ethics board is ethics board.
Yeah. So a question would be: is the deputies at the detention center or whatever, are they commissioned officers or not? I mean, whether they're commissioned or not, it should be the determining factor.
Right, right. Well, and look, Dowie's did commend Furlough for his dedication and sacrifices, especially during a time when it is increasingly difficult to find people who desire to work as law enforcement officers. Hey, I agree with that statement.
Well, have you considered this? Have you considered this, my good friend, before you just throw in with the good old boys? Have you considered that maybe it's hard to find people to work for that sheriff?
Oh, maybe so, Mr. Lowry.
I'm just throwing it out there, being devil's advocate here. I'm
I
just
said I
saying.
agree with the sheriff's statement, and he
I,
may
I'd
be
love,
correct, and so may
I'd,
you.
I'd love to be a sheriff. I mean, but hey, I do have my limits. I can't just throw in with everybody. I mean, there may be a lot of people that just won't have nothing to do with Mr. Dowie's out there.
Maybe so. And so your good wife is commenting. She says maybe we could get some of the lawyers in the legislature to write a law with teeth in it for violations of FOIA requests. I'll remind you, FOIA is federal. Oh, and add in, they must retain copies of any NDAs signed on behalf of the citizens they represent. I 100% agree with you, Kara.
I need to, that reminds me, I need to check the dates on the response from Bossier City and from the school board because unless I missed it, unless you saw it come through the email thing, I didn't see it. I don't know that they responded back regarding our NDA requests. It's kind of like I think the last responses we'd got, they were kind of thinking about it, what they were going to come up with, but need to follow back up on that and prompt them. And I'm sure they'll get the message after we kind of beat up on Bossier City a little bit today. Y'all let Ray know that we are expecting or not going to let the request go. If y'all are just going to say the no responsive records line, go ahead and please, if you could expedite that. And if somebody with the school board, if y'all would notify the cheerleader to let us know no responsive records, that way we can expedite this whole process and bring it to a conclusion. I
Yeah,
would greatly appreciate it.
maybe we need to start a tip jar for donations to funds for filing fees for lawsuits. Because look, folks, I've said this before. We have people ask us all the time, well, if they don't provide your public information request, why don't you just sue them? Because suing somebody is not free. And
That's
it
right.
costs money to do that. And Duke and I do this, just barely to pay the bills of what we do. And we appreciate every bit that's been donated in the past. We appreciate Pelican Training and Consulting, of course, Acadiana Mortgage, and then the Outdoor News. We appreciate all that. That pretty much kind of pays the bills of the software and all the services that we use to put this on. It takes money to file lawsuits, so we'll gladly file the lawsuits, but Duke and I are not independently wealthy unless you found a money tree today that I don't know about.
I didn't, and the rub for the rest of you to know is that all of these elected officials, when we or if we seek to sue them, they use the taxpayer dollars against us. They have an endless purse of your
Right.
money to fight transparency. And oh, by the way, I just wonder when we start having these next races, when all of these politicians are running for their next office, for example, and I'm not picking on him. I saw Joel Gerard today and I shook his hand.
Right.
When Joel runs for the legislature, I think the public wants to know, did Joel sign an NDA or not? It's relevant. Does Joel believe that you have the right to the documents, even after the fact, of what agreements were negotiated by elected officials on behalf of, of you, the
Yeah. Well,
taxpayer?
and look, I was picking on Joel a little bit earlier about the ditches and right of way and drainage and all that out here. But the truth is, Joel's a super nice guy, always been super nice to me. He's my city councilman. You would think he would have contacted me and said, hey, any issues I need to be aware of in the district, anything like that. I mean, granted, I could reach out to him, and I've not done that. Duke, you and I did talk to him, I think, once or twice before he was elected. But I hadn't reached out to him, so I know it goes both ways. But you would think he also might want to reach out and come on the show and discuss some of the stuff the city council's doing. But here's the question I will ask Joel directly if he decides to run for office. Joel, if the NDA law authored by Stephen Jackson, a staunch liberal Democrat who has issues of his own legally, if that very bill came up again for renewal, would you go along with the rest of the supposed to be Republicans and sign it again or vote yay on it again.
Okay. So let's play devil's advocate here. What if he says, "No, I wouldn't do that," but then you find out maybe he did do an NDA this time?
Ah,
Did he change? Oh, he just changed his mind.
yeah, kind of like every politician. Let's just say, whether it's Fleming or Letlow or any of the rest of the politicians.
Yeah, I don't know, but I tell you what, though, we're going to find out the answer to that question.
Things have a way of coming to the light eventually. Sometimes it may take us a while and other folks helping us, but eventually we find out stuff.
We're going to get there on all of them, no doubt.
Council members need town hall meetings in their districts. I agree, Val. If Joel has had a town hall style meeting in our district, I haven't heard about it. You would think he would reach out to me if he has, but I don't know. Maybe everything's hunky dory in our district. All right.
But I'm guessing there's not going to be a whole lot. You got Hambone running for marshal. That's going to be fun. You got Joel bucking to go to the legislature. He's been a councilman for not even a full term, and you don't know a lot about him. Means a whole lot of reason to go to the legislature. I don't know. I think we're gonna learn a lot here in the near term about a lot of folks from Bossier.
Yeah. All right. So
the Senate race.
Yeah.
I am just. I mean, look. Some people. I don't care what people think about me. There's a lot of people think that I'm an ass. That's fine. I don't care. You're entitled to your opinion. It's taken me a lot of years to get to the point that I'm at, to make as many people not like me as what do. But this Senate race, and there's going to be people going to be mad at me here pretty soon. But with the show that we do, and we are very critical of politicians, and we're edgy, we get out there on the edge, but I would like to think that we do have some limits. And I don't recall us dragging, granted we're because it's a political connection in Claiborne, I don't know that we completely drag family members in unless there's a political connection. And then just like tonight in the Claiborne thing, a family member of the sheriff, the subject matter of what we're talking about is the activities of the sheriff, and a police juror, dual office holding. And oh, by the way, both of those have family members that are married to each other, and there's violations of law here. We're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together here because there's something there. But in the case of this Senate race, I think a Rubicon might be the right word, might not be I think the Rubicon was crossed this past week with your favorite art, utilizing AI.
All right. Let's have this little debate because. All right. Family is off limits. I mean, I'm being a little facetious and dramatic, but basically that's, and look, well, what we've heard from Julia's camp, that's her position. And it's natural. She's going to defend, the memory of her ex-husband, just like she's going to defend the future memories of her fiance, who's a lobbyist for carbon capture. But that's a whole other point. All right. So, but here's the thing.
There's already two things in your statement already that I want to challenge. But go ahead.
All right. Well, all right. So let me finish and let me draw my analogy, then challenge me. All right. So, in my opinion, I watched the ad. I've got it downloaded. We could show it, but it really was funny. Now, the part about Luke was basically one little part of a sentence, and it was satirizing her running for congressman. Hell, we've even joked internally that she was just going to kind of get appointed to that position.
A third point. Do I need to start
All right.
taking notes? 'Cause I'm not going to
Yes.
remember all this crap.
Now, here's the thing. Luke Letlow was a politician. He was her ex-husband. He did, unfortunately, die a few years ago. And for all intents and purposes, he was a great guy. Those things are all true. So, doing a parody of the fact that she became the state rep for the very same district, or became a rep for the very same district that Luke was, it's fair game. It wasn't making fun of Luke. It was making fun of the fact that she stepped into that position. Now, she did run and get reelected. Fair game. All right. But I didn't see it as that egregious. Of course, her camp is going to take that and they're going to spin it and blow it up. It's what campaign people do. You know this as well as I do, Mr. Lowry.
You're right. Now
Okay.
back to challenging you, and I should have been writing it down. But
Okay.
so you said that there was nothing wrong with it, and I'm going to use
Correct.
the best voice. Y'all can want to make fun of me the way I'm doing this. That's fine. I don't care. But the words used were "my poor husband."
Mhm.
My poor husband. However, I can't articulate the voice the way she. My poor husband.
Right.
Her poor husband. That was to use the words "my poor husband," and then she ran a race. She was not appointed. So right out of the gate to say "my
But
poor husband," and in the way that they did it,
I
that was
agree, Duke. But we all
that
had the
was
behind the scenes political conversations of she was just going to be able to walk into that position because of the memory of Luke. Now, that's a fact. It's an indisputable fact.
I would concede that yes, she had an easy go of it because the field was already plowed, but
Yes.
it is patently false that she was appointed.
She
That's
wasn't
not true.
appointed. That's why the whole thing was AI generated
But,
and
but
parody, Duke.
you said it just a while ago. You even repeated what the video said that she was appointed, which is not true. She
I
ran a
didn't say
race.
no, I didn't say she actually was. I said, in fact, that it was parody and satire of the fact that she was basically appointed to it because there was no real race to run in that situation. Again, you and I, behind the scenes, had these conversations. I'm not going to sit here and act like we didn't, and that, oh, now I'm going to clutch my pearls because they made fun of her in an ad. And look, I'm not saying I agree 100%, but I'm just saying it was satire and parody. And for us to sit here and clutch our pearls like we hadn't done the same thing as political operatives back in the day is a bunch of horse crap.
My poor husband. My poor husband. That would so you think that was inbounds?
It wasn't out of
It
bounds, let me
it
put it that way.
play the video. It says, and when I was appointed because of my poor husband, which is not true. And in my view, using the words and the way that they framed it, my poor husband, it was making fun of it.
It
Luke
did
was a
make fun of it. Not
Luke
of
was
his
a friend of
death.
mine, but
It made
well,
a,
but that's bullshit. You
well, how did
don't
it make
use
how did it
you
make fun
don't
of his death?
my poor husband.
Did it make fun of any suffering that he did? Did it show a picture or even a parody or
But
AI generation of Luke suffering in whatever hospital bed or
but
however that
y'all,
situation?
my poor
No, it made a
it should have
point.
never went there.
It
It
made
should have
fun.
never went there.
It made fun. And look, I don't care whether Fleming
It
actually
made
wins or
fun
not.
of her and Luke.
It made fun of the ascension to the rep position that a lot of people behind the scenes were joking about at that point in time. As it turns out, she's a nice girl and she's done a okay job. But as you well know, some of her voting records and some of those statements she made before becoming state rep are not the best in the world. It was making fun of that.
So what about the stuff at the end of the video of a car wreck?
Do what? Say that.
What
I'm
about the
sorry.
stuff at the end of that video about the car wreck?
Refresh my memory on what the car wreck part said.
Well, you know, she had a family member in a tragic car wreck. as well, and the end of that video makes fun about a car wreck. I mean, I guess that's okay as well too.
How did it make fun of a car wreck? And I've got
Well,
I didn't bring my laptop to bring the
you
damn video.
well,
How
you're
did it
not on
make fun
top
of a
of it,
car wreck?
but it does. Even
Are you talking
in,
about
and
the
I've got
screeching? Are you talking about the screeching sound when it transitioned to Fleming?
so
That's the
so
only place a
I'm
car
not
wreck
the I'm
might be
not the only
alluded to.
person. I'm not the only person that see this. And Scott McKay and with the Hayride, he's got a really good
Okay.
article out today. And I tried to get Scott to come on the show because Scott can articulate things pretty damn well.
Well, you
But if
can
you
see what you want. And again, I'm not working for the Fleming campaign. I voted for Fleming. I might vote for Julia just out of spite to piss some of our Republican friends off. I'm arguing this on the merits of it. So to be
okay,
clear to everybody,
argue it
to
on
be
the
clear to everybody.
merits, argue it on the merits. But if you're Fleming camp, and by any stretch, if you don't agree with them, you're an Obama leftist Democrat, and it's fake outrage or fake feelings about any of this with Luke, you're an Obama leftist. I'm sorry, I've
Well,
got a problem with that.
I
I
do
got a freaking
too. I
problem
do
with that.
too. And now we're jumping from one issue to another, and that's fine. You know good and well
No,
that I
but
don't
if
agree
you
with the rantings and ravings of some of our fellow Republican executive committee folks that
but if you
are
don't
that basically,
agree,
yeah, that if you don't
if you
agree with
don't ag
one,
yeah, but that's the thing is it's on all of this, Rex, even this on Luke. If you don't agree that it's fake outrage, if you don't agree or you have a different opinion, well, I'm giving you a as a personal witness here. I knew Luke. I got him to come on our show. Were he and I best friends? Absolutely not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. But am I going to tell you that when I saw that and I heard the first thing about Luke, did it not make me mad? It made me mad. It
well,
did.
because you have a
And
personal
but
connection.
because I have that feeling, I'm an Obama leftist crazy. Whatever.
I didn't say
No, I'm
that.
not
So hold.
saying you. I'm not
Okay.
saying you said that. I'm not saying you
Okay.
said it. But that's what the Fleming camp has done. And
Well,
the
all right.
people saying that, they don't know Luke Letlow. They didn't know him from Adam. And to sit here
Well, they
and
probably
say,
don't know Julia Letlow, and they really probably don't know Fleming that well, other than meeting him a couple of times in a campaign setting or a term limit setting.
but these asshats and dumbasses, and yeah, some of them are friends of mine, for you to say it's fake outrage, that it's offensive to some people, it's bullshit.
Honestly, I didn't find it offensive.
Well,
It's not like she hasn't ever mentioned Duke. I'm sorry, she hasn't ever mentioned Luke. In the interview that she did with you that is on our YouTube channel right now, y'all spent most of the time talking about Luke in the context of politics and also some personal stuff. It's okay to talk about him then, but it's not okay for somebody to make a parody video. Come on.
she wasn't running in a race, and I prompted it
At that
because
time, because she was already
I
elected.
that's right. But
No,
I was
no, you
I
can't.
was
You can't. You
no,
can't do
no,
that. You
there's a
can't say, "Well,
difference.
just because she wasn't running in a race, now she can talk about." And she can talk about her ex-husband. She
No,
can
no,
talk
no, no,
about
no,
Luke
no.
all she wants, but so
That's
can
not
we
what I'm
because he was an
saying.
elected official paid by tax dollars.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay,
I had never met her prior to that. I knew Luke. I didn't know
right.
her. And when I made that video with her at the national convention, I prompted her about Luke. She didn't bring Luke up. I did. But I wanted her to know that I had a relationship with Luke.
But why didn't
And
she? Why didn't she say at that time, "Oh, Duke talking about family members, even family members that have passed away, is off limits"? I did
so
not hear
what are
that
you
come out of her mouth,
okay, so
and
you're
she knew
saying
that video was
you're
going to be posted.
So you're saying the only time that we should talk about or she should talk about Luke is if she's in the course of a campaign. Any other time when you're not in
She
the
can
course of
talk
a
about
campaign,
no, she can talk about Luke all she wants. It's not whether
oh
she
well,
can,
no,
it's whether we can.
you just said it's the same to talk about it when you're not in the middle of a campaign. And talking about it in a campaign. No, you can't have it both ways. It's not
Huh?
appropriate. There's a difference between it being in the course of a campaign right now and then is not the same because there was not a campaign. It was
Let me
not in
ask
the
you
court.
this. Let me
It was
pose
just
this
a
question to
friendly
you.
discussion, like me and
If
you.
if Luke had never passed away, would she be state rep and running for Senate?
Absolutely not.
Point made.
I
And
don't.
guess what? I just used her ex-husband's death talking about it on a live show that's going to be
But,
seen by thousands of people.
but the
So
difference
now
is,
admonish me, and I want to hear. If Julia comes on the show, she's welcome. I'll be gracious and nice because I actually might vote for her. I'm going to pose the same question.
she wasn't in a campaign when I talked
No,
to her
no, no,
before.
no, no,
You're
no. I
saying
want
it's
you
the
to. I want
same.
you to
It's
feign
not the
outrage. I want
same.
you to feign outrage at me for just making that statement that I did, asking that question. It's political context. It's in the middle of a campaign, and Luke is not with us any longer. It's the same thing, except I didn't do it in parody. I asked a direct question.
So what you're saying is it's okay if it's in parody. It's okay to use a
I'm saying
deceased
it's
spouse
okay in
in a
parody, and it's
political
okay for
campaign.
me to ask directly, yes, in
No,
the
it's
course
not
of a
okay.
campaign, as long as they're not making fun of his death or suffering or anything that may have happened or anything emotional. If it's directly related to the politics, to me, it's fair game. Now,
You and I disagree. We're just going to disagree.
I,
My poor
I see your
husband
point.
and got appointed, which was a lie. My poor husband. So it's okay to tell a lie and say and make fun and say my poor husband. I
Duke,
don't think
that's no different than what we do most weeks out of the year. We back
I
it up with some
there
facts
is
too,
a
but a lot of the stuff that we rattle off, we're doing it in parody and to make fun of folks and base it in fact, and then we back it up with receipts usually. It's the
we
MO of
don't
our show.
we don't go that low. We don't.
Really? Juliana, the
We
little
don't.
princess?
Yeah, but that's different.
Well,
She's an elected official
so
and
was
her
Luke.
husband's a judge.
So was
And
Julia.
have we talked about her family? Have we talked about her kids? Have we talked about her
We've talked
parents?
about her
Have we
husband.
talked about but he's a judge. He's a
Okay.
politician.
Did the Fleming camp or any pack associated with it talk about Julia's kids that we know about?
Not that I know of. God, I
Okay.
hope not.
They talked about Luke. Luke was an elected official, unfortunately not with us anymore. Do you? Look, I get your point. I understand. I'm not saying you're completely wrong and I'm completely right. I get your point, and I understand people that are upset about it that have an emotional tie to it. And again, I would vehemently come out against it if any pack or the Fleming camp directly had made fun of, Luke being sick and whatever transpired in that whole thing. But if they're simply making fact of the political side of it, it's fair game. I'll tell you this, I'm a quasi-elected official on the Bossier Republican PAC. We have a show together that we have done together for many years now and 300 plus episodes and all that good stuff. If something happens to me, everybody has every right to make fun of me in the context of politics or this show. Period.
So I guess then riddle me this. Then why did Fleming, why did Brendan DeBrock, why did all those guys delete all of that meme? If it's okay and it's in bounds, why did they delete it? I mean, they
It's their decision
eat,
because they caught enough backlash from, folks that are feigning outrage over it.
so everybody's feigning outrage.
Yes.
It's fake. You don't think it's legit?
Yes. I don't.
No.
Yes, I don't.
You and I disagree.
You
We're
just have to
on different-
disagree on that.
We're on a different side of this. Well,
and again, I say that not because I'm necessarily going to vote for Fleming. I don't really care which of them wins at this point.
Well, Scott McKay wrote an article in the Hayride today, and I think Scott McKay's take on this race is probably as close as it can be. And I'll read along. He says, "I don't think I'm alone in noticing that the Senate GOP primary runoff between Julia Letlow and John Fleming, which is already into early voting, has been uninspiring. Over the past few days, it's actually been a little worse than that. The two candidates have done a pretty good job of tearing the Louisiana Republican Party apart, and they're doing it over some really weird things. For example, Fleming has made carbon capture the centerpiece of his campaign, and it's strange that he's doing that. Yes, there is a small cadre of people who are very exercised about carbon capture and sequestration. And yes, that entire subject arises out of the dumb Green New Deal initiative, born from the mistaken idea that carbon dioxide is poison rather than plant food. He goes on to say, but if you rank carbon capture on a list of issues most Louisianans care about, it's going to be exceedingly low. People want car insurance rates down. They want gas prices down. They want economic development. They want to save the culture so we don't turn into the mess that Europe has become. They want criminals off the streets. They want potholes gone from the roads. They'd like us to not be at war. Issues like those are the ones voters care about. What we're seeing instead in this race is John Fleming and Jeff Landry at each other's throats because Team Fleming is accusing Letlow of being Landry's puppet. Fleming is bashing Letlow over that horrendous job interview video from a few years ago where she was paying obedience to DEI in an attempt to get the job as president of UL of Monroe. And it's hard to begrudge him for that. It's perfectly legitimate to question her ideological makeup based on that video. A Letlow affiliated PAC has been hammering Fleming for supposedly lying about his job as deputy chief of staff at the White House, when we're really talking about semantics. And who cares about a job title when we know he worked in the White House, served in Congress, and is currently state treasurer? The man doesn't lack qualifications for the job. But then there are the outside people. Some group somewhere put out an AI video with a bad likeness of Letlow confessing to all reasons she shouldn't be elected, and the race has just gotten so nasty that just about everybody you talk to is disgusted. The online group Save My Louisiana, which as we understood it was formed to stop carbon projects but is now a Fleming camp surrogate, put out a defense of the video after Landry, Congressman Clay Higgins, and Letlow herself threw a fit over a clip in the video where AI Julia says she was going to be the president at UL Monroe until her husband Luke died and she was appointed to his congressional seat. The thing is, Fleming and his campaign didn't create the video, but he committed a grievous political error by sharing it and babbling about the issues it raised. It isn't that raising those issues is off limits. It's that the ad should have been radioactive for Fleming for a number of reasons. Whew. First, if you're going to lampoon your political opponent or someone you don't like politically, what you don't want to do is to use AI to depict them exactly or in a serious way. Take Spencer Pratt's campaign and its allies as something of a gold standard. Those pro-Pratt videos depicted Karen Bass as the Joker of Batman fame. So it was clear she wasn't being presented as actually Karen Pratt. This video was clearly trying to present Letlow as she is, though from a technical standpoint, the likeness isn't all that good. There's a great deal of facial drift in the video clips they're stringing together. So they're putting words in her mouth in a serious way, which comes off as a mean-spirited. Second, it isn't just that the ad mentions Luke Letlow. At the end, there's the sound of a car crash. And given that Julia Letlow lost a sibling to a car crash, it's absolutely a cheap shot to throw that in. But in the Luke Letlow reference, the ad says she was appointed to his seat, and that's a lie. There was a special election, and she won. Now, there was a little question that she would win, but she was nonetheless elected. It isn't illegitimate to ask whether Letlow has ever had a real test or whether she's proven herself to be a heavyweight enough to be given one of the 100 or so most powerful political jobs in the world, but asking that question this way is politically idiotic. You've created so much controversy around the delivery of the message that nobody has time to consider the message itself. Team Fleming shouldn't be attacking Letlow for carbon capture or her connections to industrial energy. They shouldn't be getting into pissing matches with Jeff Landry and Clay Higgins. They shouldn't be attacking her for the fact that her fiance is a lobbyist, not when a lobbying firm is paying Fleming a retainer. They should be focused on the fact that she has a voting record slightly to the left of Bill Cassidy and that her DEI job interview at ULM marks her as an opportunist more than a principled conservative. They should be saying that the left in this country has literally gone mad, and Julia Letlow has not demonstrated the fortitude to fight back against this insanity of the Liz Warrens and AOCs of the world once she gets the Senate cloakroom. She shows all the signs of giving in to the little compromises which break our society bit by bit. By contrast, John Fleming has been fighting the fight for a long time and will keep fighting it no matter how much the Democrats hate him. That's the race Fleming can win. If he were laser focused on that narrative, he'd have a compelling case for winning. But he's coming off a 45-28 whipping by Letlow, hands in the primary, which was nonetheless enough to put him in the runoff, and he's still talking about things which won't move the needle. And he's touting a poll which has him ahead of Letlow, except it's a poll from late April before the primary verdict that put him in 17 points down. I'm saying this because I actually voted for Fleming in the primary. I did it as a strategic vote because I wanted to get rid of Bill Cassidy, and I figured a vote for Fleming would have the most weight in doing that because Letlow was certain to make the runoff and Fleming was not. And I'm considering voting for him again at the end of the month. But what worries me is that mistakes like sharing that nasty amateurish web ad and taking on this us against the world persona in the middle of a political campaign, us against the world, is a good mentality for a basketball team. It's a really bad idea when you're trying to build a large enough coalition to get a majority of voters to vote for you. I'll stop
He's
droning
more
on with it.
long-winded than Sad Owl. That's a campaign speech for Letlow. So let me tell you the one balancing act that Mr. McKay and all his political intelligence didn't factor in or didn't include in that article unless you cut it off, is that Letlow was endorsed by Trump. That's the weight that moved the needle way over to one side. Now, I'm not saying I would have advised Fleming if I were helping with his campaign or anything like that to share that video out. What the PAC does, you well know, they can't coordinate with the candidate anyway, so maybe he shouldn't have shared it out. But again, it was done in parody. I actually thought it was funny, not necessarily the part about Luke, but the part about her getting a point in the whole DI bit. And that's what Fleming has to keep pounding against Letlow because she's got Trump and Landry behind her and that whole camp. Because, in my opinion, Trump was misled into endorsing her rather than Fleming, who has always stood behind Trump and has a far more, let's just say, conservative voting record than Julia does. But McKay forgot to mention that one little bitty factor, that big elephant in the room of Trump. Now, riddle me that, Batman.
Well, what was? Well, I can't.
Did I state
I was
anything
gonna.
false? Did Trump not come out and endorse
No.
Letlow? And there's a whole bunch of controversy about why he did that. And then you're
Okay,
telling,
what I
I've
was.
had my, wait a minute, hold on, let me finish my thought and then I'll let you go. So I've had several of my Republican friends tell me, well, it's because Fleming couldn't get to Trump because Trump is so surrounded because he's president and he didn't know that Fleming was running for that campaign and blah. Horseshit. The man is tweeting on Twitter himself at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
So there ain't no way
this is
Trump
a
didn't
big
know.
this is a big convoluted mess. But I'm just saying that Trump's endorsement of Letlow, for whatever reason, tips the scales or tips the boat way over to one side. And so the Fleming camp is not stupid. They know this, and they can only pound DEI and all that so much, but they got to keep pounding it to try to tip the scales back over. Look, I agree more with Julie Ferris. She has a comment that says, I want business insurance requirements by the state to be lowered. The state needed to implement new insurance requirements. Now, Julia won't be a state rep. If she's elected, she'll be a state senator, a federal,
A U.S.
the
senator.
U.S. senators. Thank you. So she won't have any direct involvement in that, but they can certainly put legislation for it at the federal level so that it trickles down and starts helping ease the insurance problems that we've got in this state and several other states have too. But you won't hear her mention any of that. And maybe she has because I hadn't paid attention to Fleming's either, to be honest. what are Fleming's platform? Let me frame it like this. What, and I'm asking the viewers too, what is Fleming's platform? How is he going to help the average everyday person? The carbon capture is not going to help us that much, except they're squandering tax dollars by giving tax credits and the potential eminent domain. That's a whole other conversation. But how is Fleming's platform and Julia's going to help the average voter? How is it going to help all of us that are sitting here in our chairs or watching on our phones or whatever you're doing? What is their platform to actually help us? Can anybody answer that question in this race? Because that's what I'm most frustrated about. The Fleming side is harping on the carbon capture and the DEI stuff with Julia and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what Julia's platform is. Hers is, I'm just the best person for this. Ignore my DEI. I didn't really mean it. And I didn't really take the money. And you can't say anything about my ex-husband who passed away. And you certainly can't say anything about my future husband who's literally a lobbyist. So all that's off limits. But what is her platform? What
Is
the
it
hell?
my turn?
Yes, go right ahead. I'm sorry. I'll hit mute.
Okay. No,
On
you're,
me,
no,
on
you're
me.
good. It's good.
All right.
It's just going to be one of those shows.
Okay.
You're tolerating me. I'm going to tolerate you.
right.
So I'm going to use a couple of our viewers as an example. And this is what has gotten me. This has pushed me over the edge in this race. And I love both of you that made these comments right here in our comments, and you were responding to the stuff about Luke. One of you said it's fake, and one of you says false outrage. So basically, you're telling me I knew Luke. Luke was a friend. I knew Luke before he ever met Julia Letlow. And for me, them doing that irritates me. That bothers me. That makes me mad. But you're saying that I'm fake. That's what you're saying. I'm fake. You're saying that's not real.
Fake
you're saying
fake outrage.
yeah. So you're saying it too. You're saying that what I'm saying is fake. That feeling I have. So you tell all
It's
y'all
a
are telepathic. Well, it's not real. I'm faking right now. I'm doing media here. This is I'm fake.
No, I'm quite sure your blood pressure is rising a little bit as we continue this. But again, I'll go back with my argument. If it's okay to talk about Luke in any context politically since he passed away, it is okay to parody that and make fun of him now for his political things. It is not okay if Luke was going through any suffering or whatever may have happened in his passing. It is not okay. That to me is off bounds. But as far as politics, it is okay. It is absolutely on par to use that and parody it, just like it is anybody else that's passed away.
Okay, then if it's okay for Luke for Luke to not be out of bounds, for Luke to be in bounds, then it's okay for Julia to say, if Fleming was sitting across the office from Trump and he's a doctor, why the hell did he not stop the jabs and all of the treatments for COVID? Being a doctor, why was he not able to stand up and prevent Luke from dying? Yeah. Why did he not do it? Because let's be clear. Luke died from COVID. They drowned him over there with the advised practices of the time. We all know how Trump operates, the Malcolm Baldrige thing.
Oh yeah, the buck stops with Trump. He's made that clear to us. Yeah, absolutely.
No. But he gets supposedly the best people all around him. But I want the Fleming people to tell me, what was John's counsel as a doctor, the closest besides Fauci and Birch? What was Fleming's counsel to Trump on COVID? Because obviously a lot of people died, including Luke Letlow.
If I were on Letlow's campaign and advising her, that's what I would have told her to hit Fleming with, not a feigned outrage over mentioning her husband's name in a parody video. And I'll ask her directly if she comes on the show. I hope she does. I'll be fair.
But you know what?
I agree with you 100%. Wait, let me finish.
She hasn't done that. She hasn't done that. But it's in bounds to make fun about Luke. in a parody, but it's okay to make fun about Luke in a parody.
And it's okay to make fun of, to question Fleming. It's okay to make fun of him. It's okay to make fun of Trump because remember, Trump was pushing the vaccine and everything as hard as anybody. Remember what they call
That's what he
that
was being
breakneck
told.
record speed deal?
It's what is being told. I mean, that
No, it's not
Wharton
what is
School,
being told. We can go back and
that
pull the
Wharton
video
School of
clips.
that Wharton School of Business, they teach business leaders to the management of business is
Warp
you
speed.
get
I'm sorry,
people,
Operation Warp Speed.
you're only as good as the people you get around you, and to get people around you to give you the advice to make the final decisions.
No, that's not Trump's MO.
don't-
That's
Trump
not
doesn't
Trump's
know it.
MO.
It is. It is.
No,
It
horseshit.
is.
That's not Trump's MO.
It is.
Trump comes off, and Trump is the type of guy, and he has told us repeatedly, whether it's in interviews or newscasts or through tweets, he only hires the best people because he can read people and he knows people. Here's the problem. Trump is a bad manager. I love him as a president, would vote for him for a third time in the heck with the Constitution. But the fact of the matter is you can't have it both ways. You can't be the best at managing and appointing people and doing all that and running businesses, which the federal government on the executive side is a business, so to speak. You can't be doing that, but also have to fire all these people because they're incompetent. You can't have it both ways. If it was one person, I might understand it. But it's been a whole barrage of people. So there, I said the quiet little thing out loud that we all think as Republicans, and we all voted for Trump. And to your point, that line of questioning with Fleming is exactly what Julia's camp should have come back with in that parody video sharing on Twitter. Not the feigning outrage, but it's okay for her to talk about Luke if she's doing interviews or whatever. Well, it's fair game. Sorry, she put it on the table.
But she didn't use Luke.
She didn't use Luke for what?
On COVID. She didn't use Luke against Fleming on COVID.
Well,
He
it was
sat
a
right across, he sat right across from Trump. If she was going to use Luke, like everybody says, oh, she's using Luke, if she was going to do it, she could have done it right there, just what I articulated.
Well, she should have, but it's not like she hasn't used his name in the past or invoked his name in the past. Again, as long as it's about politics.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I know we disagree, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your side. But I'm just saying, we're all here clutching our pearls and acting like we had never been a part of basically the same things politically. This is nothing new, people, in political campaigns. It's just not.
Well, go to cut 1.
Okay.
And then cut 1 and cut 2, but cut 1 is essentially the gist of it. And speaking of this Senate race, John Fleming has got another injunction against him signed off by a judge for false campaign stuff. The third one. How many has Letlow had? Not a one that I know of.
She's smart. She's letting the PACs do it all. Very smart girl. That's smart logistics and planning and strategery.
Well, I mean, we're talking about what I'm saying is false and fake, and this is recorded courtroom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that fake too? I mean, this is the third one.
I have no idea. I hadn't watched it. What was the ad about? Was it a PAC ad or direct campaign ad?
Direct campaign, as I appreciate it, but
okay.
Like I said, it's the third one. I don't know. All I know is that
who put out the school bus ad? Was it Cassidy or a PAC, or who was it?
I don't know. No clue. I don't think it was the Letlow campaign. I don't know. I have no clue.
And let me ask this question too, while we're on that vein. Was it fair to make fun of Fleming? And look, I voted for Fleming, so was it fair to make fun of Fleming with that bus issue? Because we all know that if you go back and listen to what he said, that's not really what he said. But I thought the ad was hilarious and very effective. You and I both laughed over that damn video.
They should have included his wife in there or something. I don't know. That's fair game.
What is Fleming's wife a politician?
Well, no,
Oh, okay.
she's a politician's wife.
But is she a politician? Or is she a bureaucrat? Or is she a paid political consultant? Or is she a paid lobbyist that literally gets paid to lobby politicians?
I don't know what she does,
Okay.
whatever. But I'm just saying. I mean, there's no limits anymore. Nothing's
No,
out of
I didn't.
bounds.
I didn't
Not
say.
even
I did
not
not
even
say that.
a deceased spouse.
Are you alluding to me saying there are no limits?
No, 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 no. I'm just saying in general of
Okay.
this debate, it's no limits.
Well, that's not what I said. To be clear
Yeah,
again,
well,
one more time, I
you
said,
don't even say it because I'm not
no, 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 no.
listening.
You brought it up. Well, you can mute. You can mute me, but you brought it up again. So here we go again, because I want everybody to be clear. Because if you come at me with the pitchforks and torches, you get them back. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, you already
So
agreed
here's
with
the
the
deal.
other two commenters that me being mad is fake.
I'm saying it's feigning outrage over a damn comment in a parody video about Luke Letlow. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing his name. I don't have anything to drink tonight. So I'm not doing that on purpose. So I'm saying the feign outrage over the political side of this. Now, look, I know you and Luke were friends. I know that. Absolutely. And so, yeah, you might be outraged because I don't know why. I mean, Luke, let's go over the facts again. Luke was a friend of yours, yes. Luke was Julia's husband, yes. Luke was elected to be representative. I don't know what his prior political elections were or whatever before that, but he was elected to be a U.S. rep. That is a fact. Luke unfortunately succumbed to COVID and that whole crap that went on. That is a fact. Julia ran for the vacant seat, or let's see, correct me if I'm wrong. She was appointed to fulfill a seat and then ran for the seat. Is that correct? Or did she? Yeah. She was appointed.
She ran for it.
Well,
And Luke
immediately
didn't succumb. Luke didn't succumb. Luke was murdered. Let's just say
okay.
it. Let's say it like it was. Luke was
That's
murdered by COVID, the China virus. And when did the gain of function stuff and all that come out of?
I'm not disagreeing with that. Here, I'm going
voted?
down the timeline. What
I need
and
to
I
look
can't
that up.
remember. I can't remember for a fact. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. When Luke's seat was vacated after he succumbed to COVID or was murdered because Fleming and Trump didn't stop the virus, didn't stop the vaccine. Okay, was Julia appointed to that seat, or she had to go ahead and run for the seat? I forgot. Did they actually have a race to fill Luke's vacant seat the first time?
Yeah, they had a race.
Okay, all right. And then she ran again for re-election. I can't remember if she even had any opposition. She may have, and she won that race handily. Those are all facts. They're indisputable facts, correct?
Yep,
That's it.
that's it.
Now, we just invoked his name again. So where's the outrage?
Yeah, but we're not.
We spent the better part of 25% of the show discussing Luke Letgo. Look,
I know, but we're not trying to. We're not trying to steer people to vote for Julia or to vote for Fleming based off of that. We are debating and arguing the discussion of, or the point of having Luke in a AI parody, a comedy thing in politics about her to get votes swayed one way or the other. He shouldn't have been used to try to get votes to sway one way or the other, whether it was parody or whether it was not. And I can agree with you and concede that the video wasn't just as bad as it potentially could be. But what was bad was that both John and his campaign people shared it not once, but multiple times, defending it, and now since have deleted it. If you believe that it was in,
they should have stuck to their guns.
Why have you changed? If you believed it was good and it was fair and it was above board and it was all good and you had nothing to do with it, why are you still not defending it? They should be making the arguments that continuing to make the arguments that you're saying and that several of the
Oh,
commenters, and
that's
that's
what I would
fine.
have.
I can be on this island. They should still be defending that.
I 100% agree. If I were on the Fleming campaign and they decided to pull that after defending and all that, I'd walk away from the campaign and turn around and vote for Julia.
So
all right. Anyway, so this is Fleming's been smacked on his hands again for let's see, is enjoined from creating, funding, or otherwise disseminating the specific advertisements referenced in Martha McHenry's emergency petition for injunctive relief, found blah 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 blah, or any advertisement that is substantially similar to this. To remove, I don't think the judge understands how the interwebs work, but that's okay. Once it's there, it's there. Yeah, okay. So Fleming's been
I don't know what it is, but it's the third time, and and of course people saying, well, he doesn't have the money to do the legal stuff to fight her or to fight whoever. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I look. I know I'm on the minority here on this thing. I get it up here, but so today you can go to cut 3.
Yeah.
She came to Bossier and she was at Republican Women of Bossier.
All right, so let me preface this real quick. So I did this edited one in vertical style, Duke, so that if we needed to use it or you did or whatever, it'd be already in vertical. I'm going to play the vertical version because I'm 100% sure the audio will work. I'm not 100% sure the audio is going to work on your original version. Plus, I boosted the audio in my vertical version a little bit.
Perfect. Yeah, it's not the whole meeting with her or whatever, and all actuality.
Yeah, so
to get one question out of the way, unrelated to what the majority of people are concerned with in politics, but a passion of mine, which is waterfowl. I wanted to get her on record on a position regarding what Senator Kennedy has been working with us on regarding waterfowl. So anyway.
All right, here we go. Let me hit play.
Yeah, so Duke Lowry, I represent a conservation organization, Flyway Federation, and while this isn't the normal political question, but it's one that is indirectly tied to you, years ago we got Congressman Abraham, while Luke was working with Congressman Abraham, to send a letter to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service about migratory waterfowl coming to Louisiana. At that time, we had had numbers where our migratory waterfowl had decreased around 60 to 70%. Since that time, we're in the 80 to 90 percentile decrease in waterfowl coming to Louisiana. With that said, we recently were able to get Senator Kennedy to send a letter to Brian Nesbitt to seeking to amend the Migratory Bird Treaty Act and to conduct a study. And I sent a questionnaire, but I was wanting to get your thoughts on that. Would you support Senator Kennedy in trying to address short stopping in the Migratory Bird Treaty Act?
Absolutely. I support Senator Kennedy all the way. He's been wonderful. He's been a wonderful mentor to me too. He's on appropriations, and I've learned so much from him because I sit on appropriations on the House side as well. But my goodness, if he supports it, I can't see anything wrong with it. But happy to read through it and hopefully add my name onto it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're Sportsman's Paradise here. We have to support her. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Really quickly.
All right. You want me to continue on with the next one?
Yeah, because while I understand that I left it, I kept recording, and you get into a couple more questions. She gets a question right here regarding agriculture, and she speaks to that. And then you have another gentleman that asks after that a really good question, and it's a lot more substantive and what a lot of you would have more interest in, and goes to the point of what you were making earlier when we started on this subject of what does she stand for, why is she running, or whatever. And she really kind of gets down a little bit of what you would want out of an answer, I think, will be in there. So yeah, let it rip.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you so much for being here and your service. Louisiana's crawfish industry was taken down this year because of the way that the visas were not honored. Other people who went legally and had gotten the same immigrant workers for 16 years out here in Halton, our place of business in. So I know Congress is considering making all the visas across the board, not just for harvesters, but for the peelers, for the sellers, for the restaurants to have a HBA, I think. All of them considered to be the same without having two different standards of immigration if it's able to come in legally and work. Abby, are you able to help us with that?
Oh, it has been the honor of a lifetime to work with my ag folks. So in my district, agriculture is the number one industry, including crawfish. And we have had some amazing wins across the board, making sure that they have the workforce that they need, lifting the cap so that they could finish out their season. But also, I mean, you cannot turn your back on the ag industry. And I was so honored 3 weeks ago, and I think there were some helpful provisions for our crawfish farmers in the latest Farm Bill. Put my card in to vote for the Farm Bill. Y'all, we've been promising this for our farmers for years now. It's just been lapsing year after year. We finally did it. We need the Senate to go do their job and get it all the way through. I won't get into tit for tat, but my opponent voted no on a Farm Bill. I cannot fathom that. I would never turn my back on the farmers, ever. Agriculture, we have to be able to feed ourselves. And it's not just a matter of putting food on the table, y'all. It's a matter of national security in order for us to be able to feed ourselves. And so I will support, I have a proven track record. I'd love to share it with you. But I listen to my farmers. You know, they were one of the first to endorse me when I ran for Congress. And I tell them, I'm like, look, it would be disingenuous of me to say that I'm an expert in your field because I'm not. But I'm here to learn from you. And they are some of the kindest, warmest, bravest people. Can you imagine putting your livelihood on the line every year and not knowing how it's going to turn out? And so it has been the honor of my lifetime to work with the ag community. I'll continue doing so.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, so Ben James, I work in finance.
Yeah.
And your words about your children really resonate with me. I have 5 kids.
You get sleep?
Future taxpayers, you guys can thank me later. I agree with everything you had to say about that. But you left out one thing that I feel terrible about, which is I feel like we're leaving our kids a financial mess.
39 trillion.
We're spending more now on interest than we do on national defense. It's generational theft, in my opinion. How do we find our way out of this? How do we fix this terrible situation? It take younger leaders like yourself to do it.
Amen. And make hard decisions that
Yeah.
are going to be painful. But we've already started the process. So, first step, on appropriations, I have jurisdiction over discretionary funds. So if you think about all your tax dollars going up to DC as a pie, that's a third of the pie. And then you take a third of that, and that goes to defense. And we never cut defense. But we have cut back that pie every year that the Republicans have been in office because I feel strongly that the government should have to balance its checkbook just like all the rest of us do in our households. And the out-of-control spending that the Democrats put on us and put on the backs of our children, and there were some Republicans in the past too, but has to stop. And we have to start chipping away at it. And so what we've also had to talk about, it's not popular to talk about, is mandatory spending. And so what we were able to do in the One Big Beautiful Bill to root out waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid and get people off the rolls that were never supposed to be there, that were just automatically signed up during COVID. I mean, and you've probably seen some of the numbers are staggering across the state where they found the waste, fraud, and abuse. I think that's one place where you start. I think DOJ, what they were able to sniff out, we need to codify that into law. We need to make sure that never happens again with all the waste, fraud, and abuse. And then how we start chipping away, that's the first part. How we start chipping away for $39 trillion. I can't wrap my head around it. I honestly can't. I remember when Dr. Abraham was running, and he was standing up here giving the same speech, and he was like, y'all, we are $19 trillion in debt. That was how many years ago? 12? Now we're 39. We have to stop. The bleeding has to stop. And it is. I think you're right. It's going to take this next generation to step up and say enough is enough and have to say no to things instead of spin. I'm with you. Yeah. I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts.
Oh, it's a tough solution.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
You can't take the tack that the Republican in Kentucky took. You can't just say no to everything.
Right.
You have to compromise.
Yep.
That's the nature of the job. So,
Yep.
but I know you will compromise. You'll have to sometimes, but I wanted to hear where you stood.
That's right. That's right. Question? You don't. I'm happy to address it. I will. Yes.
I was wondering, thank you so much for being here with us in Motor City. I work for a nonprofit called American Promise. You may or may not be aware that there is foreign money that influences our elections through loopholes in federal and state anti-finance law. American Promise is advocating for a constitutional amendment that would empower you and your colleagues to fix that. Also, we don't have foreign money influencing our elections. Would you be open to supporting that?
Yeah. Will you shoot it over to me? Yeah. I'd love to. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Director,
Thank you for your advocacy. Yeah. Yes, Sam.
Okay. How difficult is it to be a young woman, a Christian, conservative, and very vocal and open about your faith in DC and politics when it's very male dominated and not very Christian and conservative? And I guess, like, how do you stay strong?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. I was really blessed growing up in a very strong Christian home. And I attribute that to my parents. They did an incredible job of instilling the importance of faith and leaning on your faith. Truly, that has gotten me through some days, that alone, and every day, really. But to be able to draw strength from that, and to, I was thinking back, oh goodness, even like going out on that stage for March for Life, just some of the scariest things that you could ever imagine doing in your life. And knowing where that strength comes from, it comes from the Lord. There's no other way to explain it. One thing that I didn't tell you when I got up on that stage and it was my turn to speak, and the thousands of, the energy was electric of these kids. Every single nerve, every single fright that I had that I was feeling in my body instantly went away. And that is divine, that's spiritual intervention. And one thing my parents used to always say, even when I was leaving out the door to go have fun with my friends, they'd say, Julia, be a light. Be a light in a dark world. And when I got to DC, I imagined it was a very dark place, and sometimes it is. There are dark forces at work there. But when you lean in so hard to your faith, and you know that Christ roots you, and your one mission is to be a light, then all the fear goes away, because the darkness cannot stand the light. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. So the one question regarding the debt, I thought that was pretty interesting. Did she say a whole lot? Look, the truth of the matter is we put too much faith in all politicians that they're going to solve this problem or that problem. And the bottom line is they can't, and they're not going to solve all of these problems.
Yeah.
It's too far gone, but does she acknowledge that we've got a debt problem? Yeah. She could have blew a whole lot more smoke, oh yeah, I'm going to fix it. But she didn't, she just acknowledged it, and, we need to.
All right. So our good friend Ryan Haygood says, and I'm committing us to this, so I'll fund the $100 or steak dinner or whatever we're gonna do. Bossier Watch $100. The national debt will be gone before 2028, and the U.S. will have a surplus. So we're gonna wipe out, what's the current national debt? 19 trillion.
He already owes me one steak. Good grief.
Yeah. All right. I'm good with this, Ryan. I voted for Trump twice, would vote for him again. I do not think that is going to happen, but hey, stranger things have happened.
Yep. Well, anyway, speaking of a Nobo person, Mr. Haygood was a Nobo person that kicked in some dollars for the term limits, as well as got out there
Yeah,
and beat
he
the bush
walked.
and collected. He was a machine.
Yeah.
That freaking dude, he collected some signatures. I'm gonna tell you, he was right there at the top.
Sweat equity. While she was sitting there talking, I was listening to it, but I was also researching the farm bill and look, I don't want to piss off any farmers, but let's just face it, all of our farmers are subsidized heavily. And I was thinking about the chat conversations that we were having with some, let's just say, political friends of ours about, and I keep posing the question, what is a conservative? Define conservative. Define rhino for that matter. Define what it is to be a Republican for that matter. I mean, not just the general talking points of, lower taxes and lower government, hoorah. I mean, define what it really means. And by the way, define what it means to be this term that gets thrown around all the time, a Republican. I'm sorry, a rhino. I know what the acronym rhino stands for. I want somebody to actually define what they consider a rhino. I challenge
Yeah,
my Republican friends who are watching this show.
I would be very interested to hear those definitions as well too, because I think in probably everyone's definition there might be a hint of hypocrisy in each and every opinion.
Might be. I can define being a conservative in 2 sentences. I've done it before, and I'll post it again on Bossier Watch. How about that? It's very simple.
Well, I've had enough, Uncle, and I enjoyed the debate. While I don't agree with everyone, I mean, look, that's as
Hey,
one of our good lawyer friends say, iron sharpens iron.
yeah, and look, we've said it over and over. In spite of the fact that you and I agree on probably 95% of everything, there are some things we disagree on, and it's okay to have healthy disagreements and debate. Doesn't mean that you're a, card carrying, rainbow flag toting, screaming liberal who voted for Obama. It doesn't mean that at all.
Oh no, I'm an Obama CCS leftist. Even though CCS was first passed in 08 during the Bush administration and revised in was it 2018 in the second or the first Trump administration. It wasn't passed during Obama's, but yet somehow or another, I'm an Obama CCS leftist.
As we wrap up the show, I've got a challenge for you, Mr. Lowry. When you
Come
go
on with it.
when you go in the booth and vote for Julia Letlow, you ain't got a hair on your rear end if you don't take a selfie of pushing the button for Julia. And
Ain't
we'll
that
post it.
illegal or something?
No, that's not.
If I do, it will be because of those people who have pushed me over the edge. And here's the thing: they won't know. They won't know. Is it fake or not? Is it fake outrage that I'm voting because of them? They'll never know. Y'all should wonder: did you push me that far? You're gonna wonder.
All right. Well, Mr. Lowry, it has been an enjoyable show. It got off to a rough start. We had a healthy debate in the middle. I still love you like a brother,
Absolutely.
even if we don't agree all the time. And I thoroughly enjoy doing 301 official episodes plus a whole lot of other shows with you. It's been fun.
Yep. Again, condolences to the family and members of
Yes.
the B-52 community. Sad loss, and Godspeed to all those folks that gave their lives for us.
And I'll be fishing again Thursday night, so no show, but wish me luck, and maybe I can catch a fish or two. Mr. Lowry, take us out of here, please.
Good night, folks.